All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV, where tonight we have race number 6 of the season. Tonight here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway will be 135 laps tonight, and it is going to be warm on the track. May not be like that in most anywhere in the U.S. right now, but track right now 84 degrees ambient, 127 degrees track temperature, so drivers are going to have to be on their toes and make sure that they've got what they need to take care of those tires. And fuel mileage is here right around the 45 lap mark, so it should be right on the window for a 2-stop race on fuel. However, I think cautions will definitely be coming into the mix tonight. Also, the weather on the wind side of things also going to be something to watch for, as right now it is 17 miles an hour and it's pretty much pointing right at the back of the cars coming out of turn 3 and 4. So it's going to make the turn 4 exit very interesting to watch over the course of this race. Craig Forsyth getting the win last time we were out 2 weeks ago over at Gateway. That jumped him up 4 spots into 4th in points, but right now Mark Murphy still holds that points lead by 69 points over Matt Wagner, Nick DeGroot 3rd, and then Craig, as you just mentioned, and Eric Schaus in the top 5. So we'll be curious to see, can Mark Murphy continue the top 5 streaks in every race? Also, Nick DeGroot also has a top 10 in all of the races as well, so part of the reason why those guys are up where they are in the points. So right now, qualifying going on here, just a little, about 2.5 more minutes for these drivers to put their laps down. Looks like a lot of cars are on track getting those laps in, so we'll wait and see what those times look like. But also, we'll have with me here in just a moment will be a Mr. Andrew Wood, who I was spying on him earlier, saw him racing earlier. I think it was last week, I want to say. So it was fun seeing him on track. But say always selfishly love to have him back in the booth, and yeah, it's going to be fun to see what these guys have in store for us tonight.
I have returned, and yes, I am back, and no, I'm not on the track tonight, and that's probably a good thing, because Las Vegas is definitely one of those tracks that kind of haunts me a little bit. I've had pretty poor success at this track in pretty much every race that I've done, so I'm much happier to be up here in the booth rather than being down there on the balmy, hot track. So yeah, we got a good turnout tonight. We got, what do we got? About 25 drivers, 26 drivers showed up. So this will be an interesting one. We'll see a lot of differing strategies, hopefully something similar to that we saw at Gateway, Worldwide Technology a couple weeks ago. And that'd be pretty interesting if we have some split strategy, but we'll have to see how it goes. These drivers are going to be probably going through it tonight with these hot conditions.
Yeah, I think that's going to be it too, is I was talking to a few drivers, and it sounds like tire wear is going to be big with these cars, and I'm not sure if it's the wear or if it's just the heat that's wearing them out from just, of course, the speed of this track. It is also slightly abrasive. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Of course, I believe there is a limited set of tires here as well. So that's the same thing. That might open up those strategies, like you said. And of course, you never know on the timing of if and when cautions may fall. That'll obviously play a big role in it too. So yeah, there's going to be a lot to keep an eye out on. I did mention 45-ish laps on fuel. It's kind of the magic number to make it on 2 stops. Again, I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think cautions will definitely play a role somewhere in this event. But then, yeah, from there, though, it'll be interesting to see kind of how the drivers, just how they adjust on all of that. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to see what they have. And I don't know, Andrew, I think right now the 84, 127 track temp probably feels good to a lot of us right now with the cold that pretty much everybody's got in the U.S.
You know, we were chatting right before we started about myself up here in the Northeast United States, and yeah, it's definitely chip the ice off your eyelashes kind of weather, if anyone can really understand what I'm going through there. But it's definitely cold, but it's also winter, and typically the end of January is kind of the low point. So we'll get through it eventually. Yeah, I'd rather just be somewhere like Vegas right now. We're warming up a little bit, but I'm more focused on seeing how these drivers do tonight and not focused on the cold at all.
That sounds perfect to me. So, and with that, I'll say right on cue, looks like the grid has just finished up here. So we're going to pull up that starting grid for tonight. And it is going to be, I think, once again, it's going to be a all-Brazil front row with Edson Santos, Rafael Eckert there in the top 2. Really good lap by Edson, almost half a tenth quicker than Rafael there. And then a new name here, but obviously a lot of pace there. Daniel Durazo in the number 2 and 3rd. Good qualifying. Mason Mitchum fourth. Eric Peterson. Then you got also, I think, to me at least, a new name. Not sure if maybe I've missed it from previous, but Sam Cosner. Then you got Rick Sanchez, Nick Wheeler, AJ Hobson, Jim Herrick there are top 10. 11th on back, you have then Shane Coker and Joe Branch, Craig Forsyth, Eric Schaus, Frank Irwin Jr., Jason Collins, Matt Wagner, Jeff Heisung, Christopher, Nick DeGroot, Mark Murphy, Hugo Galaz, the first of those not to put down a qualifying lap. And then Charles Teed there, 23rd, John Borsch, 24th. And then Joseph Morales, Casey Putsky, and Bill Colley writing out those 27 starters. And the thing that stands out to me right off the bat here, Andrew, is there's some heavy hitters mid-pack and worse tonight. Didn't really expect to see that from a handful of these guys.
I wonder if some of the hot conditions perhaps made the qual sims that the guys were doing before the session started maybe a little bit uncertain. If some guys are used to racing here pretty often, they may have some settings they had in mind, but when it comes to the actual session itself, it's quite possible that they didn't quite work how they wanted. And yeah, some of these lap times that are on the higher 25.2 side, and even Mark Murphy's 26.1, that shows that a mistake was definitely made here. So just wanted to quickly mention, you talked about Sam Cosner. If you remember last race, I believe we were talking about him towards the end of the race, where he managed to kind of have a quiet night and squeak in a top 5, I believe, at Gateway.
Yeah, and that's one thing. Again, there's so much going on over the course of these things. See the field starting to roll off for that warm-up lap, and then we will get things underway. And of course, as always, Andrew, say initial start always on the green, and then from there back to single file restarts, and the leader has control. So yeah, it's gonna be fun to see what we see strategy-wise. Who's gonna try to fight to stay towards the front? Who maybe decides, you know what, I want to stay a little bit further back to be safe. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting. And also the lines as well. I think with the weather and with just the way this track is as well, I'm curious to see if there's going to be a preferred lane. Talking in practice, it had the vibe that it sounds like maybe the top side may be the place to be. And I was hearing that also maybe if you're by yourself, you may not be wanting to run the white lane. You might be run that first seam just above right there where Edson is. That might be the seam to run through the turns there. So I'll be interested to see what the preferred approach is for some of these drivers here tonight.
Yeah, and of course, the one thing we always talk about on this pace lap here, watching these guys that are not qualified so well, as we previously mentioned, trying to see how they make the way to the front. And at a difficult track like Las Vegas, especially in this hot weather, you not see them as fast as we want.
Something happened to Rafael Ecker. That car just went straight to the left. And hopefully they're able to throw another lap on the yellow here. But unfortunately, there was a car that got taken out from that too. I think it may have been Daniel Durazo. And yeah, they were able to throw a caution back out there. And I know, yeah, you can see a broken right front there on Daniel's car. I know I've seen before, Rafael's mentioned he's had issues with his wheel. And I think that may have been, it just struck again because that car it looked like it basically completely broke and just cut straight to the right, or to the left, I'm sorry. And it's unfortunate to say the two cars, obviously other than Rafael, got the worst of it there. So unfortunately, some craziness to kick things off with both those cars down in the pits. Yeah,
unfortunately, that's not really a way you want to try and show up to a brand new league. And unfortunately, it seems like there was a little bit of maybe a tire heating issue or something like that caused the car to loop. But yeah, definitely a very bizarre sort of thing that we don't normally see on these tracks. So I'm a little shocked by it, actually.
Yeah, to me it looked like just the steering kind of broke, where just like not on the actual car itself, but like on the steering wheel itself, where it just, sometimes I've seen where wheels fail, they just stay pointed straight, whereas his, I think when it happened, it just went straight left. And so yeah, so tough one there. You see the lights back on the pace car. And I'm 99% sure that's the admins trying to do right here. Get Daniel back up out on the track, get him up to speed here. Not sure if he'll be able to take his original grid slot or if he'll have to start in the back. We'll see where he cycles through. But yeah, that's a tough welcome to the league. But obviously really, really unfortunate for Daniel, and obviously, of course, gotta hate it as well for Rafael, because again, I mean, that's not something that you want to ruin your own race either with. So but I'm watching Daniel. He's kind of hustling through here. So I think they're going to let him slot back into his spot there. Kind of a nice move by the admins. And I'm going to throw a wrench into this, though. So they haven't officially started this race from what I'm seeing on the timing scoring here. It says lap 3. However, when I'm looking at the lap counter on my other app, it's still saying we're on lap 1. So that fuel mileage thing could come on even into more of a play here on the fuel mileage side of things. So this will be interesting to see. This added a couple laps under yellow that maybe now puts a few guys out of that 2-stop window if we go green.
I've never seen something like this actually in any race that I've done, surprisingly enough. I don't know if it is lap 1 or lap 3. I guess they start counting laps and stuff, but you're right, it does kind of seem a little bit strange that it shows lap 0 for everyone. So we'll see what happens when they cross the line, I suppose.
Yeah, we'll wait for everything to update, yeah.
I was going to say that in terms of a fuel race, it's still way too early to start talking about a fuel race on a track like this. Then we would have to do 2 full pit stops. So let's see how the race plays out, and we'll start talking more about any sort of strategy as the cars start to file out and make sure everyone's safe through the first few corners.
That sounds like a good plan there as the field is going to get back underway here. Pace cars off, green flag is out, and we are underway here tonight at Las Vegas Motor Speedway as it will be Edson Santos leading the field to the green. You see Rafael Eckert, he is still on track. He just left pit road. So we'll see, hopefully that car's in better shape here as they come through 1 and 2.
All they need is just one yellow flag to get a lucky dog sort of thing, and Eckert would be back up there. Yeah, so I do see that we are starting lap 1 now. So I hope that your lap counters don't get any more confusing as time goes on. But yeah, it looks like those laps did not count since we never actually went green.
Yeah, no, everything looks happy on my side as well. So it looks like everything's matched. And yeah, so right now you can see there, Daniel is going to have to shake off what happened. He's going to work the top side here, trying to see if he can work his way around Edson. Edson at the moment's just going to hang on to that lead here. And also Eric Peterson there just hiding in the shadows there. But yeah, so right now though, and we're going to have to kind of talk about the exit of turn 4. I think that's going to be the trouble spot for me based on what I saw in practice. Again, just with all that wind kind of shooting right off the exit.
Yeah, we're still seeing 2 here, but the leaders up front are starting to go single file, which is pretty typical for conditions like these. You can try and pick up some spots early on, but eventually you're just going to start playing the sit behind and search for dirty air game, and that's what we see the leaders trying to do right now.
Yeah, Daniel Durazo did take the point there in the 2, so he is now our leader. Last time by, actually, quickest car on track is this rim rider here, Chris Stouffer. And look at that angle there. Entered really high there and then cut it down and gets a great exit off of AJ Hobson. He's going to clear him there entering 3, and then he's going to slot right back up to the top side. So I think Stouffer showing where he wants to run that car if he can up on that top side, making good work. He is already up 9 spots from his starting position here, Andrew.
Got some movement there early on, and it depends on who really wants to move forward and who wants to save the fuel, as I always say. It's always a little bit crazy to kind of shuffle things out, especially so early in the race. You want to pick up any spots that perhaps you messed up some qualifying or anything like that. But yeah, I don't see a lot of hasty movements right now. So perhaps people are already thinking later on in the race, maybe try and hit it later than everyone and do a little bit of an overcut. But it's definitely tough to see what people's strategies are at the moment.
Yeah, but Chris is definitely, I think, one of the ones that's definitely running the highest of anybody. You see everybody's kind of running the second lane, kind of like we talked about right about that seam area. I mean, Chris is just rim riding this thing, and now I'll say he's working on trying to get himself up into that top 5. He's outside of Nick Wheeler, and then he's going to have his sights set on Peterson here once he gets out of turn 2, because that thing is just completely wound up right now. And yeah, right now, Chris definitely on the move.
Durazo definitely showing his muscle up here at the front, leading this thing pretty nicely. And it looks like people have already forgotten exactly what happened on the last lap, or the first lap of the race to start. So he's taking command of this race, his very first race in the series here. Edson Santos is definitely hanging on to him, and it's starting to kind of gap a little bit back to third on the rest of the top 10.
Yeah, and again, you wonder if maybe some strategies on fuel. It's like, okay, I want to stay towards the front, but I also want to try to save as much fuel as possible. As here goes Stouffer, he's going to jump to underneath Peterson here. He's going to see if he can grab that top 5, and we'll see. Now this time he's going to have to try to run the bottom here, and he's going to get a bunch of dirty air there from Sam Cosner up in front of him. Looks like he's going to make that pass stick, and so move now Chris up into that top 5.
You can definitely tell Stouffer is at home here on these 1.5 mile tracks. If anyone remembers back to Kansas when he fell the lap down and was the only car seemingly on track that was able to pass other cars just using the high side. Not really using the high side too much here. I think the shape of the track and the banking is slightly different for that. But yeah, Stouffer is showing his 1.5 mile oval muscle here, and he's already picked up about 15 spots from his starting spot.
Yeah, 15 spots on the dot there. So I'm saying he's not done. You can tell he's got more in him. So yeah, really. And the thing is, I mean, he's been passing people high, he's been passing people low. So really, really good stuff from him. I'm gonna jump a little further back here, trying to find some of our points contenders. Right now, Mark Murphy's just kind of in a nice little pocket here. He is up 7 spots, so he's had a really good start as well. I say he just hasn't decided to be as aggressive. I mean, I'm not even sure if it's aggressive, but he just hasn't made the ground up that Chris has so far. But right now, showing in the 14th position, just a couple spots back from the previous race winner, Craig Forsyth. Craig only up 1 spot at the moment from where he started. Nick DeGroot is up to about 18th, just 2 up from where he started. And he's got Charles Teed right behind him, so very familiar for those two. But same thing, used to seeing these two up in the top 5, top 10, not 18th and 19th. So we'll see how the things continue as the race progresses. But yeah, right now a little surprised to see him for the back. But like you said too, I think they're just kind of letting this thing settle in a little bit. As up front though, things are starting to tighten up a little bit as Stouffer's worked his way up to 3rd.
Stouffer is definitely on the move, and I think he wants more. He's looking every time he goes into turn 3, different lines. The turn 1 kind of low line seems to be what everyone's running, so it's tough to get an advantage there, but it's a little bit more wide open once you get to turn 3 and 4. And we were talking about that wind earlier in the session as well. It's up to 20 miles per hour now, so very windy there. So I bet it kind of opens up a lot more opportunity for drivers that either have some trepidation going through there or know exactly what settings to put in their car and make those moves possible.
Yeah, you can see kind of exactly polar opposites, just like you talked about, low line 3 and 4, or 1 and 2, top here 3 and 4 for pretty much everybody. And so yeah, and I think like you said too, and that the wind, especially in turn 1 and 2, I mean, like I said, that's just going to almost add even more downforce on these cars, because you just got all that wind kind of shooting in the nose of the car, and it's just going to make it rotate really easily. And so I think that's why also probably a lot easier to hug that bottom than it would normally. So able to take advantage of that here as well.
You can see that Stouffer now seems to have leveled out exactly where he was. So tire wear is starting to already become a thing about almost close to halfway through the stint. And perhaps his tires are burned up slightly more than others just because of how much actual driving he's been doing to get up towards the front. So I'm sure Stouffer has already kind of used up his stuff. So I would imagine that other drivers around are probably close to getting the most out of their tires right now and probably won't pick up too many more spots. So now it's just kind of tuck in and see if you can stay close to the car ahead of you and get ready for the first pit stop in about 25 laps here.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see as well, to see maybe who's been trying to take care of their stuff to maybe try to get those big gains on the second half of the run. I've been watching AJ Hobbs and Eric Schaus. They've had a nice little battle here for the top 10 right now. Schaus has it. I think AJ's trying to get it. I say right now this is one of the closer battles on track here, but we've got a kind of a little gaggle here, pretty much right here with Charles Teed, Nick DeGroot, Hugo Galaz is right there as well, Shane Coker as well. So this is a nice little pocket here. These guys are all same thing, good little fight here, and yeah, so there's all over the track. You're gonna have these fights going on, but I don't think Chris is done yet though. So he looks like he's kind of maybe gathered his tire temps or something like that, and he's going for that second wind now, starting to hammer after Edson here.
I actually noticed that Eckert did not lose a lap when he came out of the pits. I actually thought he was coming out and the leaders would catch him, but he's actually kind of making his way through the back of the field a little bit. He's already passed about 4 or 5 cars in the back already. So Eckert's not looking too bad right now. All he needs is one caution and maybe a little bit alternate strategy if he chooses, and he's right back into the mix again. I expect him to kind of move up towards the top 10 again before the race is up.
Yeah, and Eckert's one that I've always got kind of my eye on the long run as well. I feel like he's one of the best about managing his tires, where I'm not sure what it is, but he can just keep them underneath him, keep that pace on the long run too. So it will be fun to see what he can do. And I'm right now focused on Mark Murphy. He had a nice little battle there a moment ago. Now this is where the action is here. You got Herrick, Joe Branch, Schaus, Hobson. These guys are all on top. Look at Schaus, their inner top. He's going to try to cut underneath Jim Herrick there. Joe Branch just got around him, but right now these guys are all right now underneath a blanket.
Actually, I think Branch is trying to hold on to the position. I believe he was running in P8 beforehand as Forsyth just gets a little bit of the wall exiting turn 4 there. Branch is actually trying to hold on to the spot, so I think Herrick initially got next to him in turn 3, and then Branch got the better run through turn 1 and 2. So Branch might be losing his tires a little bit here, and other drivers are starting to stack up behind him. So at the same time, he's starting to lose the gap ahead to Peterson just a little bit. Peterson also losing the gap to the cars ahead of him. So this group here is definitely starting to feel the heat on the track.
Yeah, no, these guys, so this is definitely a pretty busy group right now. Matt Wagner's joined the mix, seeing Craig Forsyth going side to side right now as well. And so, yeah, so I mean, you can see right here, I mean, these guys are just all under a blanket. Like I said, they're just trying to figure out what lane they can go and get the advantage, and then, of course, try to avoid the dirty air. And to say there's so much you're having to try to manage with these cars. Like you said, too, these tires are definitely starting to feel it. I'm sure getting a little bit hot and just, yeah, not happy with life at the moment. So they're having a little fight here a little further back. Charles Teed here, Frank Irwin Jr., they stay side by side as well. Looking to try to find where's actually Nick DeGroot's dropped back here as well. He's actually down to 22nd now, so not sure if maybe he's really tight there off of 4 there. But yeah, not again early, but still kind of not what we expect to see from Nick either. So not sure if maybe he's got the wall a little bit, has a little bit of damage. But I'm going to jump up front though because we've got a battle for the lead here. Edson's going after Daniel.
I'm trying to get there. Yeah, it looks like the battle is quickly starting to come here. I think Daniel is perhaps, I don't know if he's trying to save a little bit of fuel, maybe get an extra lap out of it. He's realized that he's run out front this whole time, and now perhaps he's the first car that's probably burning the most fuel here. So Edson's going to take advantage if that's the case, and I think he may be on the right line here. Stouffer is kind of lurking in the back there, taking that high line that he traditionally likes to take, and seems to work for him because he closes up nicely on the top 2.
Yeah, I don't know if it doesn't look like Daniel's trying to let him go because he's staying in it, and I mean they've got a nice little
like
gap.
It at the start, yeah.
They got a good little gap here though, because you can see they got a little over a second to Mason Mitchum, who's pretty much right where he qualified, having a nice little quiet run so far here as we're approaching lap 28. He's got about a second ahead of him, second and a half behind Sam Cosner, Nick Wheeler running together, and then like you said, this is where things really spread out here. To Eric Peterson, and then this is where the gaggle, kind of where the pack race, if you will, still continues on here from Hobson and Branch, and then from here everybody's within a half a second or so of each other, all the way back to Rick Sanchez. So yeah, so pretty much 8 to 26 is still in a pretty tight pack. So yeah, good little fight throughout these guys a little further back in the field, but. Up front, though, these guys are still not done fighting for the top 3 spots.
Yeah, that high line in 1 and 2 is not working. Stouffer tried 2 laps in a row and immediately came right up to the walls and lost some time. So I think the high line's only going to work in 3 and 4 if you do it properly, and the low line in 1 and 2 seems to be the only line you can take right now.
Yeah, I do want, and like I said, I think the wind playing a big role in that too, like you said, because it's just that extra downforce on the nose kind of lets you kind of keep it nicely pinned to the bottom without too much trouble. And the other thing I'm watching is look at the arc they're doing. They're actually not rolling straight to the bottom. They kind of enter middle high and then almost late apex it to the bottom. So kind of interesting to see the angles that are being run in this thing too, where it's not just cut and dry, where you think, okay, enter low and then you stay low. They're actually doing a pretty late apex in my mind, the way they get here. Although Edson's going to have to go real shallow here this time around, though. And it looks like, again, he's going to have a nose ahead. I don't know if he's going to clear. It looks like Daniel's going to try to keep him honest here through 3 and 4.
And the tires are definitely starting to take shape here because Branch has now fallen to P10. He lost a spot to AJ Hobson a couple laps ago, and he just lost another spot to Mark Murphy. So these tires are definitely starting to go off for some of these guys, and some of the guys that have used their stuff up pretty early are going to start to fall through the field now.
Yeah, so you can see Stouffer also, he's kind of fallen off the top two. You can see actually Mason Mitchum starting to climb back up to these guys as well. So not sure if maybe Stouffer tried something and didn't work and he's having to regroup, or yeah, maybe those tires are starting to give up the ghost. But that car looks very tight. Now you see right there, almost like the push loose there out of turn 4. So yeah, I think these cars are really starting to fight. But man, these guys are going no holds barred right now still. And again, we're only on lap 33. They still got probably about 10 more laps on fuel. But neither want to give here. They want to hold on to this top spot.
I think these guys are really, really hoping that the pit stop comes very soon and get some new rubber on. I can imagine maybe some of these guys start to kind of undercut each other and try and pick up some spots that way, because fresh tires will obviously be a lot faster from the time they start the stint to the end. So you could see that they were doing pretty... Let's see, they started with 25.
Yeah, like 25, 30.
And then they're up to about 7s and 8s now. So 4/10 a lap if you pit early, that will definitely get you some sort of advantage here. So look for some people to maybe call it a little bit earlier than 45.
Yeah, it's definitely that big risk versus reward like we talked about. 45 is, again, the magic number for a two-stopper, but like we talked about, we don't see this thing going green start to finish. And right now, let's say Stouffer's definitely dropped off now. He's out of the draft now. And like I mentioned, too, now these guys behind him, they're about 0.2 of a second a lap quicker. So, unfortunately, again, I don't know, maybe Stouffer maybe caught the wall or something like that out of 4 or something like that and hurt his pace. But, yeah, he definitely doesn't have what he had earlier. So he's kind of getting under attack here from Mason Mitchum. Again, about a 10th or 2 quicker. And then other ones that are starting to pick up the pace. So I'm looking at these guys here, Peterson, Hobson. They're all in the 89s, 90s, 82 for for Mark Murphy, Matt Wagner. So they're still running the pace of the leaders. And then one of the quickest cars still on track, is we talked about on the tire saving side of things, is Rafael Eckert. Ran a 78 last time by, and I think was the quickest car on track. Matt Wagner actually 74, but these guys are on pace with the leaders, though. So, and these two just, I say, see their little move there, and yeah, these two can't get away from each other up front.
Yeah, we already have one taker on pit road, Bill Colley from the back. So Bill Colley is all set, ready to take some new tires. I'm not sure if he'll pick up many spots doing that, because of course you pay for it later if you pit early. So it's kind of a risky strategy.
Yeah, I think Bill is just in that position where he's like, all right. And knowing Bill, too, I don't think he's going to force the issue too much here. I think he's probably just going to try to let these tires settle in, probably do a little bit of saving, I would think, right now, and then see how things go. Or maybe just try to find a line that others aren't running and go with it there. But so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see right now. Mark Murphy, he's kind of doing the slow gain, if you will. Big push there out of turn 2 there. He's going to try to cross under, it looks like, out of 4. But yeah, say Mark Murphy now, he's up 12 spots to Stouffer 16, now 13 spots. So he's just been doing it kind of little by little versus Stouffer kind of just dropping the hammer right off the kick. So we'll have to see if it maybe settles in a little bit, because we are at lap 40 here, though, Andrew. So 5 laps or so, we should start to see that pit cycle kick in here. And like I said, I feel like it's going to be these two. And look at this, too. Daniel's, he's kind of broken Edson now. They've got 0.8 off of them. And so I'll say they've been able to separate themselves from one another.
AJ Hobson and Mark Murphy have been side by side for about 2 laps now. They're getting very close to one another. And this battle for, P8 or so, they are definitely still side by side for a 3rd lap now. So neither driver really wants to give in. I think Murphy might have it now as Hobson gets a little tight on the high side exiting 4.
Yeah,
Matt
Durazo
is lurking as well.
And pit stops have started. Durazo, and surprisingly for me, Craig Forsyth in as well. So the pit stop cycles have begun. So again, this is where these guys start to get nervous here, because
Eckert had contact with turn 4 and went across the grass. So I believe his night is finished.
Already jumped out, so we'll try to say we'll let things settle in for a little bit. Because let's say during the pit stop cycle, I don't want to jump and miss everything. I can tell you that it looks like Daniel and Craig have both made their pit stops. Looks like clean ins and outs. Jeff Heisong, he's on pit road as we speak. So Again, we're not quite at that magical 45 number yet. Like I said, now those guys that have pitted, again, this is where you kind of sweat a little bit of bullets here. It's like, okay, just stay green. I don't want to get trapped here. But yeah, like you're talking about, though, this is a good fight here. You got Sam Kozner now they've been able to catch up with Peterson, Murphy, and Wagner. These four, I should say, and they're about to bring A.J. Hobson into the mix, it looks like, as well.
More pit stops. It looks like.
Oh, Peterson.
I think he just about made it in. Wow, that was very close for the drivers around him. A little scary as well. But Jeff Haisong came in. I believe next lap you're going to see Stouffer. Yeah, so pit stop rotations are going to begin here. So it's a matter of keeping it green right now, or else some of these drivers that pit earlier are going to be a little bit behind.
Yep, here comes Stouffer in, as you said. So I gotta say, though, great fuel mileage for Edson here. So he's been up in the front pack pretty much from the get-go. But you're right, though, this is the busiest lap now because you've got Nick Wheeler in as well, Sam Kozner, AJ Hobson, Hugo Galaz, all these guys hitting pit road. So it's definitely time. I'll say these guys, again, I think they're just going as far as they can or splitting it evenly, I might say. Looks like a nice entry, locks it down. I think that was a good entry there as well for Edson. Mason Mitchum's going to hop on the pit road as well. Mark Murphy, Matt Wagner, they're going to continue to run a few more laps here, see how far they can go. And now these are the guys that we always watch that maybe are stretching it a little bit further than others. Again, if they can get that timely caution, they could trap a lot of cars down. So this is that risk versus reward of running long versus short pitting. So you can see here Mark Murphy continues the lead here now, starting lap number 48.
Now, I'm kind of curious to the long strategy. Other than trapping the cars a lap down, I don't really see why you wouldn't just break this race into 3 45-lap segments since we're only doing 135 laps tonight. But, yeah, you could definitely tell that some of these guys want to trap some other people one lap down and take it from there. So, interested to see how long these drivers can go. I can't imagine that they can go much further. Mark Murphy and everything. I believe Murphy's coming now, actually.
Yeah, Matt Wagner and Jim Herrick, they've both hit pit road. Looks like Frank Irwin Jr., Charles Teed as well. So, yeah, pit roads, I think we've got about 9, well, actually, now at this point, about 5 more cars that have yet to pit. It looks like, like you said, Murphy's about to hit pit road as we speak. Coming to lap 50, he is in. We'll see if Eric Schaus is able to go any further. And answer is yes, Schaus is going to keep going as well. Jason Collins looks like he's about to hit pit road. Nick DeGroot's going to continue on here in the 89, and then that's going to cycle things back over. Once they finish, should cycle things back to Daniel Durazo, but right now he's still got to wait for these two here. Schaus and DeGroot still yet to pit.
Interesting, the different pit strategies here. We kind of saw it last week at Gateway as well. Maybe a little bit more spread out in terms of lap count at that track compared to this one. But yeah, I think you're right. I think Durazo is going to retake the lead here once everyone's done their pit stop. Glad to see that everyone's gotten in and out on green flag stops safely and no one got trapped a lap down. So now the strategy can start to play out all over again, and we'll see what happens when these drivers rejoin the track for their second stint.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is they have to get all the setting. And actually, that's something you can talk about, Andrew, is you talk about the pit entry, pit exit, but then you've been making adjustments to this car for the low fuel, for the full fuel, cold tires, dirty air, clean air. I mean, so, okay, you get into pit road. Okay, I got my new tires, got everything. What are you having to change behind the wheel as you get back underway after having a full green flag cycle?
Well, these cars are obviously set up to run on the banking the whole time. So, wow, someone just entered the pits really, really fast there. I think that
may have been Bill.
Penalty. Yeah, I believe Bill Colley.
Yeah, and I think he's went ahead and retired, it looks like, or maybe towed.
Yeah, that was a really scary pit entry there. We could have had our first caution there if things played out differently. But yeah, these cars are meant to really run on the banking, just how they're set up and everything. So when you transition to the flat part of the track, if you have any weight jacker in the car at all, you're going to have an uncomfortable feeling just entering the pit lane, especially because the right rear is loaded. But you want to go back to the negative weight jacker. So it's constant changes that you need, especially on the pit in portion. The pit out is essential as well because you want to go as fast as you can on the access road to get back on the track again. But it's very easy to spin the car if you have the wrong settings in. So it's a very hairy time for those that want to do a pit stop and do it without really sacrificing too much time while also keeping the car safe.
So it looks like cycle has completed. So now this is going to get more interesting again. So now the field's starting to, it's a fair bit spread out. Top two, got about 3 seconds between them. Stouffer and Edson, they're pretty close together, not even half a second. But then I'm looking at when these guys pitted. Durazo pitting at 41, Craig Forsyth at 41, Edson at 46, Stouffer 45. Matt Wagner of the front runners went the furthest to lap 48, and he's in 5th. And then Mark Murphy in 10th went to 49. So I'm intrigued to see kind of, again, the fuel side of things. To me, it's going to be the one that I'll be watching is Daniel and Craig, just because of the fact that they pitted about 4 laps before that magical lap 45 mark that we talked about. But yeah, we've got basically a range from 41 to 51. So a 10-lap range from Durazo to DeGroot as, who was that? I'm not sure what happened to Mason Mitchum there. He just got passed really quick there. Not sure if maybe he had a moment or something, or maybe he's just backing it down. But unfortunately, he's dropped a spot. About to lose another here. As a little further forward here, Craig Forsyth and AJ Hobson, they've been having a little battle just outside the top 5 at the moment. So right now it's kind of all spread out. So I think this is a great opportunity here. Andrew, we'll run through the field here to show where all of our favorite drivers are running. If my little button works. There we go. As we'll start off with our leader here, Daniel Durazo, in that number 2. I'm enjoying this. So he's got the Corona livery on the car, but the helmet showing as the Heineken. So I think we found an interest for that 2 car here. Maybe I'll have to chat with him about that later on. Behind him, Edson Santos in that number 20. Started on pole, currently in 2nd. Then we'll go back to Christopher right behind him in that 3rd position, plus 16 as we run. Eric Peterson's had a nice quiet but solid night so far. Started 5th, running in 4th. And then Matt Wagner up 12 spots now into the top 5 in his number 6 machine. Then you got the 88 of Nick Wheeler up 2 spots to 6th. AJ Hobson also up 2 into 7th. And then Mark Murphy, our points leader, coming into tonight, up 13 spots now into 8th. Then you got Mason Mitchum in that number 3 car is 9th. And then Craig Forsyth just maybe now cracking into the top 10 here, getting around Sam Cosner. We'll jump back to Sam, who is running in that 11th spot, 10th, 11th spot right now, back to 10th in the 00. Then go back about a second. Joe Branch in the 12th spot in that number 28. Then Jim Herrick in that number 40 Raceware machine in 13th. Frank Irwin Jr. there in the Carvana. He sits in the 14th position. Shane Coker here in 15th in that number 12. Hugo Galaz right behind him there in the 57 car, 16th. Eric Schaus, again, one of the latest pitters there. He sits in 17th. And then we got Casey Pahutsky here in 18th. He is up 8 positions, so also a lot of spots gained for him so far in this one. Then we'll go to Jeff Heisong in the 19th position. Joseph Morales up 5 spots into 20th. Charles Teed right there as well in 21st. And then I believe Teed may be the first car one down. I'm waiting, trying to double check my timing and scoring. And yeah, Teed right now, the first car one down at the moment, but he's got pressure from Jason Collins here in 22nd. And then behind Jason is Nick DeGroot there again. Kind of, to me, an off night so far for Nick. And then Rick Sanchez in that number 5 is in 24th. John Borst in 25th. And then, unfortunately, a couple early retirements for Bill Colley as well as Raphael Eckert. And I think Eckert with the wheel issues. And yeah, he does say that, yeah, he's having some wheel issues. And for whatever reason, he's saying it's only occurring to him with these Indy cars. I guess his Daytona 24 drama free. So not sure how the car would affect it, but unfortunately it's his wheel and combo with this setup has just not been cooperating. So I hate it, Raphael. I say we saw it from the kick there, even during the warm-up lap, but we saw you work your way through the field, and yeah, just hate that that's happening to you, bud. But hopefully it gets fixed soon.
The battle for second heated up briefly between Santos and Stouffer. I think Stouffer took a couple of incorrect lines there through, especially turn 1 and 2. He keeps trying that high line. It's just not working. So they were side by side a couple laps ago, and Stouffer had a slight advantage on him. Didn't quite
Yeah, and so I'd say right now, and I have noticed too as well, Andrews. I was about to say the wind has died down, but as soon as I say that, it's back up to 18, 19, almost 20. I saw it down to about 14, 15 for a second as I was watching Eric Schaus here and Shane Coker, and Eric looks like he's going to grab that spot, and it's only it's a 4-lap difference on tires. Not sure if that's enough to really make that much difference. I think this is more of a risk versus reward type strategy. Now we'll jump over to Jason Collins, who's trying to chase down Nick DeGroot. And again, I think for Jason here, I think, again, this is the battle to try to stay. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Now Joseph Morales just got put down a lap. So right now he's the first car one down. And that will get important. Again, if and when the caution comes out, that could play a role here for basically giving Joseph a free ride around here. So that's where that fight is going to be, to try to get back into that top spot. Says, oh, okay, no, I thought I saw Nick Wheeler on pit road, but just a little connection hiccup for the number 88 car.
There was a nice battle after the pit stop cycle through for P7 through 10, but that seems to have really spread out now quite a bit. So pretty standard look there for those guys, all spread out a little bit. There's still quite a huge gap between third and fourth, between Stouffer in third and Peterson in fourth. So definitely have some guys that acted really well in the pit lane and got their service done quickly and able to get out front the top three in particular. But now it seems Durazo is really flying through the back of the pack here, putting several cars a lap down and growing his advantage even more so.
I think Shane Coker's had a moment. See, he's building speed back up. I'm going to go back. We're going to try to take a quick look at it because I'm showing that he went off track here. And I think this might be the push out of 4. Oh, yeah, just catches the wall. And then he's going to do some high-speed lawn mowing here. And then, but I got to say, impressively, though, keeps this thing pointed in the right direction, stays on track, and he's back, I believe, up to speed here. I think probably a little bit damage on the side of that car, probably even a little tighter now. But really, really good hands by the 12, able to hang on to that. Unfortunately, it's cost him a handful of spots, but again, able to keep this thing pointed in the right direction, and we stay under green with it. Yeah, sorry to jump on you there, but yeah, I definitely wanted to catch that.
I'm still trying to figure out Craig Forsyth's issues because he is farther back than we normally see him as well, and I'm wondering if he's carrying some damage from that bump on the wall he had at a turn 4 on the last stint. He's in a pretty heavy fight right now with Frank Irwin Jr. for 13th place, and Forsyth has definitely lost a lot of ground towards the guys up front. So a lot of these guys that are brand new to the league here tonight are really impressing, and they're really kind of shaking up this championship a little bit. And it's unfortunate that some of these guys weren't around the whole time, because we'd like to see them actually in the championship battle and mix up the names a little bit. But as of now, we have some pretty unusual names sitting at the top of this grid here.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a few names that, yeah, maybe we haven't seen as often. And like I said, definitely some big names that, Joseph Morales, I think he may have had an issue.
Orozco's actually gotten the wall out of turn 4 also, so not good news for our leader here.
Yeah, and I think Joseph also had a moment, so I'm going to jump back real quick, try to take a look at Joseph's issue. And I think it's the exact same thing, yet, just catches the wall out of 4, and then takes it down to the grass and able to hang on to it there. And then you mentioned Daniel, was it out of 4 as well?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same incident as Morales. Not as flashy as Morales's, but definitely there was some contact there. And I'm not sure if that side pod's okay. I'm going to on that.
Yeah, so we'll jump back live and we'll keep an eye on those guys. And we'll also keep an eye on lap times as well. And that's what I was about to mention is the lap times. They're definitely dropping right now. Some of these guys are down about a full second slower than what they've been running as their best laps. So you can see Nick DeGroot here. He's actually going to work on trying to unlap himself, it looks like, from Daniel. But yeah, it looks like pace-wise, though, it looks like Daniel's back okay. And right there, I was watching him. He was literally running the white line there. I think these cars definitely probably getting tight. And I think what he's trying to do right now is just try to stay as low as he can. He kind of steal maybe a little bit of grip from the apron even. Maybe not for apron, sorry, from the white line, though. But yeah, we're going to keep an eye on there. But you can see, again, goes all the way to the bottom, just tries to bring it down right there, just about touching that white line. So right now he's definitely doing all he can. Matt Wagner here and Eric Peterson. Matt's actually starting to chase down Eric here, trying to get into that 4th position. And again, Matt pitted on lap number 48, and he's going to take the top side, makes it stick. You see a little bobble from both of them, but move Matt up, and you see the momentum loss right there for Peterson there when Matt got to his outside. That's how big that momentum is in these things.
Yeah, I think that Durazo got away without any damage. He's running similar lap times to Edson and Stouffer behind him still. But Nick DeGroot is kind of harassing him a little bit after just going a lap down. So he may be carrying a slight bit of damage, something that we may not see too well, but we'll have to keep a watch on that on the next stint.
You see Nick right there peeking to the top again. You can see he's doing that high entry and then arcs it down, gets a good run off. I'm curious to see, I was going to say, see if he makes a move here, try to get that lap back. And so he's going to run the inside line. But again, I think the outside is where you want to be through 3 and 4. It seems like that's where you need to carry that momentum. Jump a little further back here. Yeah, Casey Pahutsky's working on Craig Forsyth as well, as they're going to go side by side here through 1 and 2, continue through 3. And I'm going to stay on this battle here because I want to see, does Craig then get that advantage through 3 and 4 on that top side? And you can see, yeah, it definitely pulls him. So to me, it looks like 3 and 4, you want to be top. 1 and 2, you might have some options there. As I'm seeing Jeff Heisong hit pit road. This is early to be able to, definitely cannot make it to the end from here. Again, talked about that magic about 45 window mark, so that basically they would need to go about 10 more. However, we've seen a few guys go 50-51, so based on that, could maybe make it in about 5 laps or so, but I'm guessing this was a pit stop for Jeff, where it's just like, I got to get off these tires.
Back to Forsyth for a second. As we were chatting about him, you'll have noticed that he's dropped even more spots. Frank Irwin Jr. is well up the road. We were talking about their battle before. So Forsyth is definitely carrying some sort of damage to his car, and that's unfortunate for him because he's a championship contender, of course. So he's just going to want to bring this thing home safely and pray that a caution brings the cars together where he might be able to pick up a couple spots on a restart or something like that.
Yeah, and also he's probably hanging on to that fast repair if he does, just in case, like, hey, save it until I know I can really use it. But yeah, like you said, though, I mean, he's got Casey Pahutsky right there, Hugo Galaz is right there, Shane Coker not that far. So, I mean, there's 3 more spots that he could lose if he's not careful. And again, he was one that pitted lap 41. So I do also wonder, has maybe he turned that fuel map down a little bit, said, hey, I gotta go long on this run to make sure I can make it. Maybe not expecting what we saw there. So as I jump a little further back, AJ Hobson just kissed the wall there at a 4. He's trying to chase down Nick Wheeler. So yeah, so right now all these guys have their little fights, and right now it looks like Casey's just getting around. Nope, Craig's going to fight back on the top side. Oh, Craig contact. He got really loose. He got into Casey. Oh, Casey hangs on to it somehow. Oh, almost makes contact there with Shane as well. I don't know how Casey hung on to that car, but unfortunately loses 3 spots from the process. Craig's kind of gathering it back up. Hugo's gotten around him. And so, yeah, so that 99 car, unfortunately, he's struggling tonight. Like I said, maybe damage, or if it's just the track temperature combo. But yeah, it's not been a solid night for the 99 so far.
Yeah, I'm watching actually the battle for P11 with Branch and Jim Herrick has also started to heat up quite a bit. And Frank Irwin Jr. is flying right now. He left that battle earlier, and he's caught up to pretty much the bottom of the top 10 here. And this battle will definitely heat up, and this pit stop's really going to change a lot of things that's coming up.
Yeah, another car. I've been trying to kind of keep an eye on lap times as we hop on. As actually, here comes Daniel Durazo. He's on pit road. This is 50 to go here, Andrew, so he's going to have to go severe fuel save to make it to the end, but he's bringing people in here. He's got Peterson in, he's got Hobson in, so I don't know if this is going to be the final pit stop without them having to do a lot of saving. So I think here, if you're Edson, if you're Chris, you don't blink. You try to go about 5 more laps here. I think that's what you need to do to make it to the end here on 1 more stop potentially. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the reaction is going to be from these guys. But I was about to mention those lap time-wise, though. Matt Wagner, he's been putting down laps a tenth or so quicker than pretty much everybody in front of him. Which also, I got to give a shout-out to Seth Groover. He was giving Matt some love earlier. I'm not sure if you're still here or not, Seth, but appreciate you hopping on. Looking forward to seeing you on the Super Speedway soon. But yeah, we're back to that battle though you were talking about though with Joe Branch. Add shouts to the mix. Herrick's right there, and yeah, like I said, Frank Irwin Jr. is right there now too. So this is a good little fight. And then right coming out of pit road is AJ Hobson. So he's going to have to build some tire temps up as Craig is on pit road. He said, I no more. I got to come in. So,
contact Frank Irwin Jr. and AJ Hobson out of turn 4. Hobson's going through the grass right now. Hobson just came out of the pits, like you just said. So he caught up to that big pack that was all battling there. And he was like, these cars are going way too slow for me. I need to find a way by. Irwin got slightly loose exiting turn 4 and contact was made.
oh man, yeah, that's identical to what we just saw earlier with Craig there and was it Mason? I think it was. So yeah, so unfortunately, and so unfortunately, again, great job by AJ hanging onto that car. Looks like he's gonna limp this thing to the pits. Frank Irwin Jr. I think he said, okay, that's my sign. I got a pit, so he's in. And so right now, Edson is still our leader. We are at 45 to go, so windows should safely be open from here to the end. Nick Wheeler's also on pit road. Hugo Golaz was just in and out of pit road, it looks like, as well. But it looks like Edson's going to go a little further. Here comes Stouffer. He's going to jump in. But again, lap times, though. Matt Wagner, I think he's working these guys. So I do like where Stouffer is here, though. I think we'll see. Can he maybe get this undercut like you've talked about, Andrew? Kind of get those fresher tires on, see if he can get a couple tenths in the bag on Edson. Or does Edson see that in his mirror and say, okay, I got to come in now then?
I'm interested to see what Durazo's strategy is as well, since he did not come in on 90. He came in a little bit before that. So is he going to fuel save? Is he hoping that a yellow comes out and he's really to extend his lead a little bit? It's a bit of a risky strategy, but it could pay off if it all turns out correctly, because I believe he's a lap down right now. So a caution comes out now, as we mentioned, and Durazo's strategy goes out the window.
Oh, and there it is.
There it is.
It looks like it was it's the car upside down. I think it's the 88 of, we got two cars there.
Herrick's upside down.
Oh no, Jim Herrick as well. And there's the caution that you were just talking about. So unfortunately, the gamble there for Stouffer doesn't pay off. And yeah, this is going to completely shake up the running order, because right now we have 6 cars here on the lead lap. Santos, Wagner, Murphy, Schaus, Pahutsky, and Nick DeGroot. And then I think at the time of the yellow, I believe Jason Collins may be the first car one down. So let's go back. Let's try to find where this occurred. So we know Jim Herrick was involved. We'll start looking at him. And we're already up and over. So let's go a little further back. Oh, this is a pit entry. I'm not going to say miscommunication, but you can see there, I mean, I'm seeing nothing wrong from the 28, but I think maybe Jim Herrick doesn't realize he's pitting. Or did Jim Herrick just get in way hotter possibly than the 28? Because it looks like Jim's trying to pit too. I think he just gets in way too hot. It was tough
to see. Yeah, I was wondering the same thing. I don't know if Jim was trying to pit or if he was just taken by surprise at Branch's braking for the pit entry there. So.
And then Nick Wheeler, just nowhere for him to go. And those are huge hits. And then unfortunately for Hobson, for Herrick, the car kind of gets all bouncy and doesn't wind up back on its wheels. So unfortunately, he had to take a tow. And I'm gonna go one more time here, not to rub salt in the wound, but I just want to double check, because I am curious to see, is it possible, if it lets me. There we go. I'm going to try to hop on board here. I want to look at the revs on Herrick's car, because usually you can tell by the RPM. So like right now he's at about 1800. We'll listen. Oh yeah, he was pitting too. He just came in way hotter,
yeah.
Yeah, so
that tells the story for sure.
Yeah, so just unfortunately different pace on entry, and so that's going to catch him. So leaders did pit, so we've got 1st through 6th here that have all pitted. They stay under on the lead lap, of course. Jason Collins, I believe, was the wave around car, so he is back on the lead lap. And then we are going to have a slew of drivers taking this wave around here on the 1 to go. There goes Craig. Here comes Daniel. He's going to go as well. Well, he should be going here as well. You see the guys behind him are getting antsy. There goes Peterson's like, I'm not waiting. I'm just going to go. So all these guys are going to try to get back. And so, yeah, so basically now Edson's going to get back and take over the field. And so that's going to give us now back to 13 drivers on the lead lap. But we've still got a number of drivers trapped a few laps down here. Forsyth was actually 2 down, so he's had to take the wave to get back to just 1 lap down. So we're going to have from the 5 of Rick Sanchez all the way back. Of these guys are going to be from Sanchez to Coker in 18th. These drivers are all 1 down, and then Frank Irwin Jr. on back. These guys are going to be 2+ laps down. So the Lucky Dog battle, so like the 5, the 86, the 99, that's going to be some fighting as well with Hugo and Shane as well to try to be the first car 1 down. So yeah, we're going to get back to it here, Andrew. So we're going to have our first restart, and that is going to be now where the 20 has control of this one. He can go as early or late as he chooses once the pace car leaves the field. And then so now at this point, pretty much for most of the field here, there should be no questions from here. These guys should be able to make it to the end on fuel.
I just did a quick scan to check some of the car's right sides, and it looks like the only car I really see damage right now to the side pod is Joseph Morales. So everyone's got a clean car at the moment based on the fast repair. Probably everyone used it up at this point, so it'll be free pace for everyone from here. So let's see who is willing to make some moves early as we get this restart going.
Well, it looks like Mark Murphy's ready to make some moves. He's going to try to take that top side. Looks like he's going to get to the side pod of that 20. Again, we talked about the top side in 3 and 4 seems better than 1 and 2. But I think 1 and 2, the inside line definitely seems to prevail. So Mark's going to try to capitalize on this. He's been running long this whole time. Now he's going to have to try to make some moves to try to get to the point. Again, we talked about, he's got a top 5 streak where he's finished top 5 every race this season. And so he's going to try to continue that on, but he's going to want to try to get all he can. And right there, nose at the line, give it to the 69 car, but not too far back. Matt Wagner, he's starting to lurk into this one while they battle. Matt's going to be able to try to capitalize on this, maybe let them burn their stuff up a little bit and take advantage.
There was very, very close contact between the two of the cars as they crossed our finish there, so I'm not really sure if this battle is going to get away cleanly. They are running very close to one another here.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's that risk versus reward. How close you want to kind of pinch somebody in the chance of a net code situation where unfortunately maybe it moves their car up a little bit where it actually wasn't type of a deal. So again, and this thing too is you've got pretty much a full fuel run left to go in this thing, so you don't have to go full song yet. And I think you want to keep some tire underneath you, and that's where I think maybe a Matt Wagner could capitalize on these guys fighting so hard. Is say, okay, let these guys fight it out. Let me save my tires a little bit, because if they run theirs off, then I can go after this thing a little bit later on in the run. As Nick DeGroot maybe starting to think about time to go here, as he just ran the fastest lap of the race, a 25.00. So don't count the 89 car out yet either.
You mentioned that it's not really ready to go full song yet, but if you lift at all, you're going to lose 2 or 3 spots. So you kind of have to go at the same time. So you want to save your tires to the best of your ability, but at the same time, you don't want to lose any spots, because you're not going to get them back later unless you really save your tires in such a way that they're good later on in the stint. Yeah,
no, that is a really good point too. And I'm I say we talk about the 25 flat for Nick DeGroot. Stouffer just running 24.95 as now the fastest lap of the race. So, and we know what kind of short run pace Stouffer had. So, of course, might be a different scenario. Some of these drivers might be pushing a little harder than they were in that first run, as obviously you can see right here up the very front. But yeah, so I'll be curious to see what kind of gains Stouffer can make as well to try and get back to the front. As right now, I think he's been able to jump up to 8th. I'm not sure if he's been able to gain a ton more yet. But then again, also we talk about Daniel DeRosa, so he definitely got a tough deal on that one as well. So, but right now, like I said, this is obviously the fight right now for the lead here, as we're going to come around to 31 to go.
Cars are sticking pretty close together compared to the first stint, so maybe there really was some kind of laying back a little bit at the start of the race, but you see some side-by-side action through much of the top 10 here, especially the leaders going at it. They both want to see who can get ahead of the other and run away with it, but right now it doesn't look like that. And there's the contact that I mentioned before.
Oh, yep, there's. I went to go check another battle, and then unfortunately Yeah, you see Mark Murphy's going to stay pointed in the right direction. Everybody's got to try to sneak around him. And then, unfortunately, somewhere in this, we're going to see Edson. I think he's already had to take a tow. And unfortunately, I turned away to look at something else just at the wrong time. But we'll go back here. We'll take one more look at this one. And we'll see how this contact occurred. But yeah, I mean, you're watching. You kind of had that feeling that it's only a matter of time. And right there, yeah, they just... I said that's not even a netcode situation. They met in the middle here, and unfortunately, both cars significant damage. Look at Matt Wagner having to make quick evasive action there to avoid him on the inside. But luckily, I think you see Nick DeGroot. He was going to go low. He sees him jump to the bottom. He's going to jump back top. So luckily, I think that's going to spare anybody else in this whole incident. So
there's another wreck right now as we speak, going into turn 3.
Oh no!
Forsyth.
Oh no, not Craig too. So I'll say we'll jump back full speed here. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of cars in this next one as well. So we'll just stay. This is still on replay. We're running back through to see what's happened now here.
It'll be on turn 4 the next lap.
Yeah, so
turn 3 rather. Sorry.
Everything stayed so clean, and then unfortunately, just kind of everything's jumped the shark after this. But
I think, as I'm watching, it looks like there's a lucky dog miscommunication. I think someone got the lucky dog and then just gunned it, and unfortunately, whoever that is behind Craig actually is the one that got hit, and Craig was collateral damage.
Oh, if that's the case, that's gonna be the 2. Oh yeah, right there, it's Hugo. Just like you said, just throttles completely up into the back of the 2 car.
And teleports through Jim Herrick, which is also kind of bizarre.
I'm wondering if there's something, because he's driving. There's something going on now with Hugo's car, where it's as if these guys don't exist. Man, this has been such a weird one. So I'm gonna...
And it wasn't supposed to be a weird one. It was just a complete green one, and then all of a sudden it was very strange. I actually also wonder if the way that he drove through Stouffer's car like that almost makes me think there might be a connection issue of some sort. Perhaps he's driving and then all the cars on his screen disappeared, and he just kind of was like, okay, I'm going to go, but suddenly there was actually cars in his way.
Yeah, well, and I've seen it.
That was a very strange one. It looked like a lucky dog almost.
Yeah, it did. You're right. I can tell you that the lucky dog did go to the number 5 of Rick Sanchez, so the 5 now is back on the lead lap, which I think is now going to put 11th on back now, down 1. And also on the strategy side of things, the top 5 stay out. So Matt Wagner back to Mason Mitchum, and then Nick DeGroot from 6th back to Sam Cosner. They also pitted under that yellow. I think Rick just took the wave around, so he's just back on the tail end of the lead lap here. But with all that stuff that's happened now, we've got so many cars in the pits here, Andrew. I mean, look at this. You got Edson, you got Mark in there. Craig is still in there. So this race has completely turned on its head. The last 2/3, if you will, of this race here. Very, very strange. And I was going to mention, for what we saw with Hugo there, what I've seen before is on his screen, everything's gone, but all of us can still see him. So I'm thinking that's got to be pretty much what happened there. And so he's kind of like, you don't know where you're supposed to be, so you just kind of drive through, because you could also see his car wasn't affected by the contact at all compared to obviously the other ones that he hit. So that's a tough one for those guys too. It's a tough pill to swallow, keeping it clean for so long for that. But we're going to come back to it here, though. 27 to go at the line. Look at Eric Schaus. Matt's waiting. Now he goes. That's going to be a risk of a stack up further back in the field. But it looks like we're going to get through on the start trial here okay. But yeah, Eric Schaus was ready to pounce on that 6.
We didn't even get to talk about if there were any pit stops. I'm not sure if anyone pit or got new tires or what. There was so much going on there.
The top 5 did not pit. DeGroot, Peterson, Pahutsky, and Cosner and Heisong all did pit.
I I also noticed I was busy watching that replay again because I was so mystified by everything. I believe Joe Branch also got collected in that Hugo Gallops.
Yes.
If he's the only car on the track, because he was the only car on the track for him.
Exactly.
So unfortunate that a bunch of races got ended there. As you mentioned, several cars in the pit lane. So hopefully we never see anything like that again, because that was pretty wild for all of us to see. But yeah, we have. I'm fully impressed by Frank Irwin Jr. here and how he's been driving. Unfortunately, I think he got stuck somewhere along the way, but he's running with the top guys right now, and he's running pretty fast lap times as well, sticking with them. So what could have been for him if things kind of stayed green the whole way around and he didn't get caught up in any sort of pit dramas.
Yeah, exactly right. So right now the furthest up on fresh tires is Nick DeGroot, and he's just about working through all the lap traffic, because again, some lap drivers did not pit there. And with the IndyCar rules, it's only within 10 to go where the lap cars drop to the back. And also, I'm looking right now, I'm watching Christopher. He's getting back to us. This is a great break for him, too, because, again, he's been really quick, but he just got hampered by that untimely yellow. So now he's got the track position back. He wants to get back after this thing, and we've seen the pace that he's had in the 13. And then, yeah, like I mentioned, though, DeGroot, he's going to have about 10, 15 lap fresher tires than some of those guys that stayed out. We'll see if that makes any difference as well. But and then we also the Lucky Dog battle, which is what I was about to mention before the incident with the leaders, where it was between the 5 and the 86, and the 5 got it. Now it's the 86 and the 12 that are battling right there. That black car and then the green car. That's our Lucky Dog battle for those first cars one lap down. So that's also going to be a fight within the fight, if you will, here. But right now, this is a battle up front. These top three, these guys, there's not going to be anything held back with these three drivers. They all really want to win right now.
And I don't believe any of these top three are in the championship fight right now. I believe that. I mean, not that they're lagging in the championship, but I believe that in terms of where they stand, yes, you're right. Any of them win, and they throw themselves right back into the conversation again.
Yeah,
so
with the tough night. Yes, unfortunately with the tough one for big wiggler for Matt there out of 4. Oh my goodness.
That was almost an incident right there. I'm shocked that it wasn't actually.
But yeah, so unfortunately with the issues for Mark Murphy, it looks like that likely, I'm not going to say it's out of the question yet, but likely takes him out of the running for the top 5 streak. But yeah, that's also going to greatly shrink the points battle potential. Matt Wagner was 69 out of the lead in second, and then DeGroot is 81 out of the lead in third. So
wide.
Oh my goodness, these guys. Oh, Stouffer just kisses the wall there. I think he's going to get away with it, but then doing this, look at Nick. He's right there now. He's got the freshest tires.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm shocked Stouffer is still trying that high side out of turn 2 or out of turn 1, because it just does not work, and he keeps throwing himself up there. I don't know if he's trying to scare someone to maybe lift on the throttle a little bit or something like that, but yeah, every time he goes up there, he always winds up very, very close to the wall, and I'm pretty sure he's probably touched it a couple times as well. But he's pretty much given Eric Schaus a clear shot of the lead now as the tires start to wear out as the stint goes on.
Yeah, so now put DeGroot into that mix, and not too far away, Peterson starting to creep back into this one as well. And I haven't given a lot of attention. Jason Collins, he's kind of kept it. Oh, we got one off in the grass. I think that's Shane Coker. It is some more off-roading, but looks like he'll be able to hang on to it. We'll stay green. And so we've definitely had some lawn mowing here tonight at at Las Vegas. One of those tracks. Sister track.
Landscaping the bill is going to be pretty high for some drivers, so I hope that someone wins the race and can pay it off.
But yeah, so now the roles are reversed here. Now the 72 trying to hold off the 6, and with that little hiccup too, that puts the 86 of John Boris. Now he's fairly safely now in that Lucky Dog position, and right now he's probably feeling pretty good about that, because these guys again about to go 3 wide there on the entry. And again, you see Stouffer, he's gonna, I think the third lane in 3 and 4 is definitely a good spot to be in. But like I said, 1 and 2 just doesn't seem like, I think right now Stouffer's just trying to find any real estate he can to keep the clean air on the front wing. You see here comes that big cut down. He's gonna get a big toe here out of 2. Where does he go? I thought he was gonna take it to the apron there.
Schaus and Wagner are getting very close, just like Mark Murphy and Edson Santos were doing before. So let's hope these guys don't get attached to each other and we have another incident that takes out the entire top 5 here. But you can see you're absolutely right in what you were saying before, that all these drivers want to win so bad. They're sick and tired of watching some of these championship leaders take it, and they want to beat the next guy to win.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the list, and Stouffer has won at Michigan, but Schaus and Wagner have not won yet this season. Nick DeGroot has not won yet this season. So, these are definitely some hungry drivers here. Like I said, add Peterson to the list here as well. He's going to want to try to get a win under his belt this season as well. And there's the move. That's what I was waiting to see.
And same thing, Schaus tried to give him some space, but Wagner was up there, and there was almost contact again. But Stouffer in front now.
Oh, Stouffer just was barely able to clear there, but now he's going to have the inside here through 1 and 2. We've seen that seems to be the place to be. But again, I'm watching Nick. I'm sure he's not laying back, but I do wonder if he's just kind of plodding a little bit.
Stouffer would have taught him something, right?
Yeah, I got to jump back though. I think you've talked about Sam Cosner recently too. Look at him. He's just worked himself into the top 5.
DeGroot just hit the wall out of turn 4.
Oh, no, Nick.
I think it was just a scrape. I think he might have gotten away with it. It was similar to the Durazo one from before. Yeah, I see the side pod is clean on his car, so he got away with one there, but you just goes to show that he watched Stouffer do a move, and I'm sure he's probably trying to figure out best lines to kind of copy that so he can get himself up into the front.
Oh, man. 72 and the 13, so close out of turn 4. I say, basically, yeah, they're... Obviously, it's not that Stouffer's opening the wheel up. It's just, again, we talked about there's 17-mile-an-hour winds basically pushing these cars out of turn number 3 and 4, and that's going to make these cars very tight, just basically push up to the wall. And so that's making it very tough for the inside car to hold the bottom. And again, you see him push up there. He has to lift out. There's that wiggle because of it. And that's going to allow Schaus here to get the nose through the start-finish line here. Not enough to clear. But again, though, I mean, if that's the last lap move, give the win to Schaus with that, just, again, due to the keeping the momentum up top.
Wagner just got the wall, got side pod damage. It's the end of the win searching for him, unfortunately.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye. We'll see now that's going to maybe open the door for some other drivers. Look at Mark Murphy. He's going to try to get back up there, at least maybe try to get some laps back even potentially, because, again, you don't know how this thing is going to go. So if he can do anything to get himself back into this one, it's worth a try. As here comes Stouffer. You see there, he has the opening to the inside. He doesn't want it. He wants to go back up top, but now that's where Schaus is running. And so now that's opened the door for Nick DeGroot here. Now Nick's going to take the inside here. It's coming to 7 to go. I kind of like where Nick is here. He should have a better line on the inside here.
I don't know how this is going to turn out, Gael. I'm kind of wondering because there's so much ebb and flow. Just when you think that you have the lead by about a second, the next lap suddenly you got 2 people right behind you again. So, yeah, you're right. All these guys are going to be plotting and trying to figure out what exactly, as Matt Wagner gets the wall again, and he's going to lose 4th place to Sam Cosner. They're going to be plotting, scheming, doing whatever they can to see how they beat the other 2 to the line.
Yeah, and that might be it too. Like I said, it's just figuring out the line. But at the same time, you can see they've started to spread a little bit. Nick was up there. He's kind of fallen back a tiny bit. You see Stouffer now. He's going to try to run even higher than Schaus has been. Just, again, one, trying to get the clean air on the front wing, but then also try to keep that momentum built up. So, yeah, we're down to it, though, here. 5 to go. He's got a great run. He's going to jump to the inside of Schaus here, and he's going to clear him here. I'm not sure on that one how that occurred, but that almost seemed like Eric had a bit of a hiccup there and just didn't have the top end that he should have had.
I think all these cars are playing with their tools a lot now, too, and they're just throwing every single bit of weight jack or roll bar, anything at it to try and find the best tools possible to kind of hook the car around the corner faster. Maybe Stouffer found something there.
Yeah, no, it's very possible. You can see Stouffer's just clear of Nick, and yep, there he goes. He's going to jump to the top. Nick's going to counter to the bottom. But this, again, I think this is what you want to do, is you want to be up top here in 3 and 4, down low in 1 and 2. But Schaus is going to clear him. We'll see the Stouffer. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Looks like the front wings are still intact there, but that was very, very tight. That could have gone very bad. I think both cars are going to stay okay here as we got Coming to 2 to go.
Nick is kind of running out of time here. I'm not sure if he just lost a lot of momentum or what's happening here, or maybe perhaps he burned all of his stuff out. But I think I think it looks like Nick is getting very close to the wall. I'm pretty sure Nick has burned some of his stuff up here, so I think it's gonna be a 2-horse race to the end here.
Yeah, so we got 2 to go. Again, there are no green white checkers here, so at this point, this would end it. So now Stover's got to figure out where does he want to go. There he goes. He's make a quick move to the inside line. Again, he's going to have to try to slide job. You talked about that earlier in the race. Can he slide? Oh, he just does it here. He's going to make the crossover here. 1 to go. Right now, it looks like will it be Stover or Schaus, or do they slow each other down? De Groot capitalizes on it. We'll see here as they come through 1 and 2.
Come on, boys, just half more lap. Please don't hit each other. That's all I'm thinking right now.
Look at the momentum for Nick, though. I don't know if he'll have enough, but again, if they start fighting, though. But here comes Schaus here. He's going to clear himself. He is clear. Can there be a crossover? No, there's not at the line. Eric Schaus going to get the win over Christopher. Nick de Groot brings it home in third. Matt Wagner is actually able to get back by Sam Cosner there to grab fourth. Sam's still going to get a top 5 finish. Man, what a fight. Those two were throwing everything they had at each other. And at the end, though, it's going to be Eric Schaus able to grab the win here tonight.
I'm still trying to catch my breath. I just sat here with my hand on my head going, these two guys are just going to hit each other, and we're going to really not know who the winner of the race is going to be as they come around the last corners. But, wow, I mean, what a battle. It just racing inches apart, with no regard to any internet connection issues or anything like that. It's so risky, but it put on quite a good show for us. And I don't think we've commentated a race quite that intense for such a long time now.
No, there were haymakers being thrown on that one there at the end. I said I'm hoping that both drivers are happy at the end of that one, just because, again, I mean, that was incredible racing. The thing is, it wasn't just one did it to the other. I mean, they both did the same thing. They could clear. They just would slide up just in time to try to pull it off, and then the other would cross them over. And no, that was really, really good fighting. I'm curious to see what they say, if it was basically, if there was strategy you wanted to be in second, or was that just doing everything you could there at the end. So before we get to those guys, though, let's go ahead and pull up those final results here, though, Andrew, as it will be 0.5 of a second for Eric Schaus over Christopher. Nick de Groot there grabbing the third podium spot. And then Matt Wagner, Sam Cosner, just talked about them. Casey Buhutsky is fourth. Jason Collins, again, a great top 10 for him in seventh. Eric Peterson, Mason Mitchum, Jeff Heisong round out our top 10. Rick Sanchez, last car on the lead lap, got that wave round, just wasn't able to kind of get that track position back, but he grabs a lead lap finish there in 11th. John Borst, first car, one down in 12th. Shane Coker there 13th. And unfortunately, we saw the incident. Mark Murphy drops him down to 14th. Frank Curran Jr., like you mentioned as well, Andrew, really, really good run. Just didn't have the result to show for it, getting caught out by the caution. And I possibly even the issues there at the end with the caution, with the contact there. He winds up in 15th, 16th for Joseph Morales. Nick Wheeler there in 17th. Hugo Glass, we mentioned, obviously, the whatever connection issue he had where cars didn't exist, it looked like for him. He winds up 18th. And then some of these guys, just not the nights they were hoping for. Craig Forsythe, just nothing went right for him tonight. He winds up in 19th. Daniel Durazo led so many laps. And then same thing, caution timing. And then also, of course, that contact during the yellow was pretty much the end of his night. And then Edson Santos contact with Mark Murphy fighting for the lead. That dropped him all the way down to 21st. Joe Branch, we mentioned that one as well there. Jim Herrick, upside down, winds up 23rd. And then A.J. Hobson, Charles Teed, Bill Colley, and Rafael Eckert with the early retirements. And again, definitely a hardware issue related, I don't know, just kind of a crazy one tonight, is the best way I can describe it on the the hardware side of things, if you will.
The only real comment I have to make here is I really would have liked to see what would have happened if this race did go green, especially with Durazo pitting before lap 90 there. There definitely would have needed to be some sort of fuel safe situation going on there. And I don't know if he would have made it or not, but it would have been cool to see him try and hold on to that lead and see what happens. But at the same time, we were treated to such a wild battle for that lead there with 3-4 cars. And everything kind of works out for a reason.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely no complaints on the fight there at the end. So we're gonna start with our first driver that was maybe I would say I don't know if that's what he wanted to have, but probably had the best view of those of the top two duking out there at the end. And so Nick, kind of a tale of two races for you. Say we were definitely surprised, didn't expect to see you first qualify where you were, but then just didn't see the huge progress through the night. I mean, take us through the night. I mean, what didn't work? I mean, it seemed like obviously you kind of had a little bit of everything tonight.
I don't know how I'm on the podium, but I'll take it. So the whole story is that I didn't have time to practice. The team was, doing quote unquote updates to the car. So I missed practice. And by the time I got in, it was time for qualifying. I'm like, okay, this is Vegas. It's usually a pack race. I assumed it was going to be like how it usually is. So I went up there and qualified. I go down into turn 3 and that car went straight. And I'm like, oh, okay, that got tight. So qualifying lap put me at the back. I'm like, oh yeah, that's fine. It's a pack race. You know how these things go. And I quickly realized just how difficult it was going to be to pass. And after realizing that, I'm like, okay, I can burn on my tires trying to get through the field, or there's like 30 cars here. Let's save fuel. Possibly there's going to be a caution during the round of green flag pit stops, and the longer you go, the better. So I did that. We didn't get the caution. Then I'm a lap down, and I'm like, well, this worked out great. So go hard and try to get your lap back. And I fought hard to get back in the lead lap there. I was at least in the free pass position, but couldn't quite get past the leader there. Kind of ran out of tire at that point. And then to my shock, he pits. Well, not to my shock, he pits, but he pits, and people start pitting. And then to my shock, the caution then comes out. I'm like, oh, so the fuel saving I did in the first run, actually, I was able to parlay into what I wanted to happen into the second run. And suddenly I'm sitting in the top 5. And I'm like, I don't know why I got so lucky tonight, but I'll take it. And from that point forward, it was kind of just a straight race. Got the opportunity to get a little bit fresher tires there. But the fact that I didn't practice, I think, really cost me at the end because I was kind of learning as I went, clobbered the wall like once or twice. And right with like 2 to go, I figured out something with my bars and my weight jacker. And you guys saw I started surging. I'm like, give me a couple more laps. I know people say that all the time, but just give me a couple more laps. I just figured something out. But it was a heck of a show from my seat. I love watching those two duke it out.
Well, I definitely didn't expect that much of a storyline arc from start to finish there.
It was a lot.
So I had 2 questions lined up for you, but you answered both of them. So now I'm gonna have to come up
Sorry.
on the fly with something here. So,
Well, how about the fact that my mic didn't work either, and I couldn't speak and I couldn't hear anything, and I didn't know what was going on half the race. It was very, very quiet, which is very strange.
okay, so were you also juggling chainsaws and dancing on one foot? Is that what your next thing is?
Might as well have been.
All right, so let me ask you this. We did see something kind of uncharacteristic at Vegas tonight, which is that wind. It was 20 miles an hour coming out of turn 3 and into turn 4. So did you find that side of the track to be treacherous in terms of what line to take or what settings to put on your car?
Oh yeah, I was taking the highest line I could anytime through there, and a lot of other people had the same idea. So, you kind of had to migrate down, which was a bit difficult because it's like there's clean air there, but it's a little deceiving. It's not like 1 and 2. And you had to get it into your brain that you can really hammer it in 1 and 2, but you just can't do it in 3 and 4. And even at the end of the race, I was finding myself do that. It's like, no, you can go harder in 1 or 2 here, Nick. Okay, well, don't go that hard in 3 and 4. Really, it's difficult when the 2 ends of the track are different like that, especially when they look the same.
So did you find that the car was getting a little loose out of turn 4? Because we definitely saw that a few times with a couple of drivers as well. And I'm wondering if that has to do with some of the wind as well, or if maybe that was just so much tire wear.
The tire wear definitely was part of it too, but tight on entry, loose off, and that wall was real inviting. So yeah, it was a really tricky 3 and 4, probably the trickiest it's ever been in this league, but I loved it. I think it was an interesting challenge. I would have liked to have, started up front with the kind of challenge we had, but I think it made for great racing, and it wasn't just a full-on hold the bottom pack race, which was really exciting. I think it made it awesome. You saw them going back and forth at the end. That was some cool stuff.
No, it was like I said, I mean, for no practice, and as I as I Andrew was spot on there. I mean, you had the full arc of everything tonight, but as they bring it home on the podium, gain a few points over on Matt and Mark to try to get back into that championship hunt. So I mean, still a lot, obviously, a long ways to go in this one, and again just sticking with it, and really good results coming to the end of that one, and yeah, I've definitely been there where it's like, oh, just a couple more laps. I had something, I know I did, but no, I mean, regardless, I mean, a really, really good job, Nick. Like I said, I mean, that kind of shows why you stick it out because you never know how these things are going to turn out.
Mm-hmm.
So, well earned, hard earned third place finish, and definitely want to give you the floor for any thanks and shouts for that podium tonight.
Yeah, first I'll say sorry for Mark there, what happened there on the backstretch, because he's had a crazy good year. I thought I could come into this season, like, winning's fun, but, consistency. And that's helping me beat almost everybody in the points, but he's gone and just run away with the thing. So he's been doing an incredible job. Was probably going to win another one tonight or finish second. So he's just been absolutely on it. So kudos to him. And thank you to motorsport.com, covermore.com, Canvas Shoes, everybody who supports us. I'm in a bit of a winless streak. I think this might be the deepest into this season I've gone without a win at this point doing Area 51. So hopefully we do get one win shortly. These podiums are nice, but I'd like to get back to victory lane.
Wow, it's time to get those practice in for the next races then.
Yes.
But no, great job though tonight, Nick. Definitely always a pleasure seeing you out here and chatting with you, man. So look forward to, we'll get that Top Step interview soon.
Hopefully. Thank you, guys.
All right, Andrew, that was Nick DeGroot. We're going to jump one more spot further up here, and that is going to be Christopher. And I told you, Andrew, I can't tell if this is going to be one of those, like, that was a really good, I'm happy, hard-fought race interview, or if it's going to be one of those where it's like, damn it. So, Chris, we'll start with that. Say, that was a really fun, hard-fought race, or I mean, take us through the emotions of that fight at the end with Eric there. Kind of, I mean, you two were throwing haymakers there those last laps.
Both. I mean, I'm glad to finally. I feel like I haven't finished a race in forever, so I'm glad to finally finish a race. And to get second is good. Of course, I wanted to win. That's why we're here. So, all the stuff starts going through your head. What could you have done differently and all this? But he just he stuck it in four and drove it to the finish. So hats off to him.
So I saw another Christopher 1.5 mile Highline Fest going on. So let's hear the tricks of the trade that you got going on, because it didn't really work for you much in turn 1 and 2, which I pointed out a couple times, that every time you went high there, you lost like 2 or 3 tenths. So what were you trying to do there? And was it working for you perfectly at a turn 3 and 4, or were you, especially at the end of the race, trying different stuff there to get ahead of Schaus?
Well, yeah, at the end of the race, I was just trying to do different stuff. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to get a gap necessarily, but I was hoping it would, he may get some dirty air and just give me enough that I could keep him back there. But, I just used the high line in 1 and 2 a lot just because I got clean air and then I could dive down the track, and passing in 3 and 4 was really difficult when you're in traffic and you had any sort of dirty air that you're going to get on your nose. So, really, I was just trying to run. I tried the low line a few times. I felt like I was losing too much momentum doing that. So I just kind of stuck it up high. There was a couple moments there where I really had to check up, or I was going to get into the wall and end my race prematurely. So, there's always a risk factor running up there against the wall. But it just seemed to be where the clean air was, and then at the end of the race, I was just trying to find clean air wherever I could, and luckily I was able to make it stick, and not take anyone out. I was quite worried for a little bit there. It was very tight, close racing, but respectful and clean, and we all made it to the end there.
Yeah, no, it was, like I said, I mean, it was a really exciting race. And say both Andrew and I, there's times where, like, yeah, we were basically catching our breaths on those fights. But then obviously it was the same thing we talked about with Nick as well. Actually, both of you gained 17 spots from where you started to where you finished. But for you, it wasn't a just roll out of it or roll into it. It's like, yeah, I'll pick them off one by one. I mean, you pretty much, like Andrew said, I mean, you jumped to the wall, and it was like you had an extra gear over those other guys. I mean, did it feel like they were maybe trying to save or anything like that? Because you still had the fuel mileage to do the two-stop strategy, as we saw. But I mean, you gained, I want to say, like 15 spots in, I don't know, maybe the first like 15, 20 laps of that race. I mean, just what was the game? I was like, hey, I want to get as far up as I can, as quick as I can, or how was that? Because I mean, it was impressive.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you saying that, but certainly puts a smile on my face. You know, it just kind of happened, really. I just went for where the clean air was, and yeah, I got a terrible qualifying. I mean, that's embarrassing. Qualifying there, we missed it for sure. But you know, when the race started and the green flag dropped, it was just wherever the clean air was is where I was going, and it just happened to be up high. And for some reason, yeah, it seemed like everybody was going low and having the lift, and because I was up there by myself, I just kept my foot in it, and just kept driving around everybody. And next thing I was in top 10, then I was in top 5, and then I was battling for second place. And then at that point, I was just kind of like, all right, tires are getting worn. I could certainly feel them going, so I just kind of rode it out until the first cycle of pit stops, and then it was just race on again. And we had that unfortunate caution there with the teammates, which you never like to see. I I would like to, if it would have went green, it would have been nice. But you know, it was a fun race overall, especially passing the cars and everything. So um, you know, like I said, I was happy to finish the race for once. And I know I say that, and I'm probably more hard on myself than I need to be, but it was a hard fought race for sure.
No, it was a hell of a job. I said we had a lot of fun watching you work through the field, man. So yeah, definitely don't put your head down on this one. It was a really really fun fight watching you two duke it out, and yeah, I mean a hell of a job tonight, man. So go enjoy this one, and look forward to chatting with you again soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, that leaves us one driver left to chat with. Got to hunt him down and bring him on over here. And that is going to be this guy right there next to him. That is going to be the 72 of Eric Schaus. And Eric, we talked to Chris. We got to ask you the same thing. I mean, you two were just throwing haymakers there at each other at the end. I mean, you'd clear, you just slide up in front of the other. I think there's one point, there was a little bit of a touch just from the kind of the momentum out of turn 4. But in the end, you were able to make it happen there. I mean, was there any strategy of where you wanted to be there, or was it just kind of corner by corner? It's like, I got to try to get ahead of this guy. I mean, because it was, you guys were going back and forth there those last couple laps, pretty much every other lap.
Yeah, that was a hell of a race. I originally was thinking I wanted to be on the high line because I seemed to have a run out of the upper lanes, or could carry more speed, and those guys would push up down on the low side. But then I realized once they got around me, I could also run the low side. So I don't know if I just had a lot more tire than these guys at the end. But I don't know, with maybe 5 to go, I was happy on either side. I think I knew I had them either way.
Well, I'm gonna shock Gael here and say that I think the right driver won the race today. We weren't making any predictions, but I was very impressed watching you come through the middle of the pack there, starting towards the middle. And you had caught at one point in the race, I believe it was the first stint, you caught like a group of 4 drivers that were all kind of struggling with each other, and you managed to slice your way through all of them, which was impressive on its own. But then on that last restart, you kind of shot out like a cannon out of nowhere and just managed to drive like you were the only car out there. Like you were slicing through cars like crazy. It seemed like you had every line down possible, trying to make your way back up to the front again. So, did you kind of piggybacking on what you said about how you felt like you had more tire life than everyone? Did you find that you were saving tires much, or was it just simply playing around with the right tools in the car to get yourself up there?
With that first stint, I really I really pushed the front right tire. I think I had like 30% left at the end of the stint, which was awful. So I knew I was doing something wrong there, and I think I was running like maybe +8 on the jacker. So the next two stints, I decided to just crank it up, and I was running +15, and it was holding for the most part. Every once in a while, I'd make it a little loose out of 4, but I was okay with it because it was a light slide. So I think just protecting that front right, what I learned from the first stint, really just paid dividends in the next two.
No, it was really impressive what you guys were able to do. And like Andrew said, I mean, there was some points where we're watching them, and yeah, you'd make a move, and it's like, and then off you went, and obviously the kind of the race really kind of turned on its head with the caution timing. We saw you were one of the ones that went the furthest on fuel the first run. I want to say going all the way to lap 50 or 51, if I'm not mistaken. And then was that the plan for the second run prior to the yellow? Because I think you were one of the few that had stayed out still at that point, because again, obviously you were still moving forward regardless, but it seemed like that also made a big change in how that race came through.
Yeah, I think the caution, really sealed my race there and put me in the position I was in. But the plan was to stay out as long as I could. I think I was only a couple laps away from making it on one more stop. I wasn't really sure how far we could make it on a tank. Somebody told me 40, 41. I was just trying to make it to lap 95, which I had just enough fuel to do, and it sounded like other people were pitting before me. So that was the whole game plan. If I can make it to lap 95, I could run map 1 the whole way. If the field was spread out, I didn't have to worry about burning out my tires, so I knew I could carve through people, and that was the game plan. But caution came and caused a new race, and was happy with the way that turned out.
Yeah, I'd say the outcome definitely worked out nicely for you. The only thing I'm going to say is you only gained 13 spots tonight. Stouffer and DeGroot gained 17, so we're going to have to work on that in the future.
Absolutely.
But no, I mean, hell of a job tonight, man. Like I said, it was you guys, the fight you guys had was just incredible. I say, yeah, Andrew and I had a blast watching you guys duke it out there at the end. So before we let you go and enjoy this one, as always, definitely want to give you the floor. Any thanks and shouts for that win this evening?
Yeah, well, great racing with those guys, DeGroot and Stouffer, and Matt too, until I think he touched the wall, unfortunately. So great racing with all those guys. It was hard racing. I think I picked up 12x in the last 10 laps between the three of us. So we were leaving no space. So shout out to those guys. Thanks to Area 51. Thanks to you guys for broadcasting. Shout out to my wife and daughter, even though they probably never hear this. And yeah, that's it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, tell Dr. Schaus that she needs to stop working so hard and come watch the broadcasts again. I miss her.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll let her know.
Go enjoy this one, Eric. Congrats again, man, and look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks, guys.
Congrats on the win, yeah.
So, joking aside, Andrew, with I'll say, obviously give him a hard time about the kind of the points or positions gained, I should say. I was looking at the top 6 finishers, even top 7, actually. So Eric Schaus, winner, gains 13 spots. Second and third gained 17 spots. Matt Wagner in fourth gained 13. Sam Cosner, he only gained 1 spot to fifth. Casey Putsky up 20 spots from 26th to 6th. And then Jason Collins up 9 spots to 7th. I mean, kind of just shows on this one tonight. I mean, it just at some point, again, probably the fuel strategy and all that. And of course, some of these guys just not having the qualifying laps they wanted to, but it completely just turned the head on the race, and a lot of big gainers. And unfortunately, say then you have the Daniel DeRozzo, Santos, Joe Branch, Herrick, Hobson. They all lost 20 plus position or 10, 15 plus positions on the counter side of it. But yeah, just impressive to see the top 7 have such gains over the course of the race.
I think some of that had to do with that long run pit strategy we were talking about, because that yellow kind of trapped a lot of people a lap down, and that immediately just accelerates you right to the front. So yeah, good for Jason Collins getting his best finish of the season, I believe. And also Casey Putsky, we saw him mowing the grass there at one point, and we've seen him have some unfortunate races this season as well. So I'm pretty sure he's happy with the top 6 as well, and only good things going forward for him as well if he can build on that.
Yeah, no, exactly right. And yeah, also definitely Casey's best finish so far this season as well. So, and the thing is this, and that's the thing is that these is one, obviously the talent level's gotten ridiculous with these guys, but it's just also right place, right time, unfortunately at times. And the caution timing, sometimes that burns you, sometimes it'll help you out. And then from there, I mean, it's still not over. You still got to capitalize on it. So yeah, so really good job by all those guys. And yeah, that was a fun one. I mean, to go caution free as far as we did with the way that the grid started with all the chaos, like yeah, it looked like it was going to be a rough one to kick things off, but yeah, all the drivers did an awesome job tonight, and it was a really exciting one.
And we'll rack them up and start all over again for the next one, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fun. So I'm going to actually spy real quick, see where we're at next, and that is going to be 1 week's time at Iowa Speedway. So we're going to shrink them all down to a much smaller, I think it's was it a mile and a third or something like that? It's
less than that.
3/4 of a mile,
8/10,
something like that. Yeah. Or, yeah, so it's a smaller one. So that's going to be a fun one to say. That's also a very multi-groove track, so that'll be fun to see what lane these guys want to run there. So that's going to be a very interesting race. I'm looking forward to seeing that one. But Andrew, as always, man, it's a pleasure doing these with you. I have a lot of fun with it, and yeah, it's definitely enjoyable to do these with you. So thank you as always. Everybody that watches and supports us here at Green White Checker TV, as always, also appreciate that. We'll be back doing the Super Speedway side pretty soon, pretty much once the Super Bowl finishes up, as well as the NASCAR Clash and all that stuff. Kind of avoid the conflict of scheduling. We'll be doing the Super Speedway races here as well shortly. So, as always, I hope you all enjoyed it tonight. And as always, of course, take care, stay safe, and have a good night. See you next week.